What's up, everybody? Wayne here. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on. A lot of madness in Serie A today. Just checking out that Juventus one. Ooh, it's been crazy, but I got a lot of other stuff to talk about as well. So check out what I got here. Yeah, a little Serie A captain's armband. So this weekend, oddly enough, there was a Serie A. Am I echoing? Sorry, I'm probably echoing here. Let me get out of this. There we go. Sorry, I had the audio on my computer. So today there was a Serie A viewing party down in Hoboken, right down the street from where I live, together with Rome City, this university. And what they do is they have people and students who are still wishing to continue on a rigorous sporting path as well as academics. And you can go and live in Rome. They've got high school in between, gap year, even master's program at this point. So it was very cool to talk to them a little bit, and they were out there yesterday. Today got rained out though in Hoboken, New York area. It was very rainy, but yeah, cool stuff. Definitely to see the league growing, to see an influence in North America, and things that I didn't have when I was a kid. Right, you couldn't just go to a viewing party and hope that people showed up or just watch Serie A as you wanted to. But now you see that people do show up, and there's social media, of course, to spread the word, which is super good. And overall, it was just really cool. Oh, they also had the trophies. I believe there was the Scudetto and the Conference League trophy. Coppa Italia, my buddy Luis, he sent me a picture of him, which is pretty funny. But so since we last spoke, I didn't do a post-match from Ludogorets. I pretty much was emotionally drained at that point from that game. I didn't think that it needed heavy analysis. I watched my center mids give up on some plays. I watched Roma struggle to find a way into the goal for most of the match until the very end by way of Shomurodov. So I also actually got hit in the face pretty hard on Wednesday night and probably had a mild concussion. I actually woke up during the night and had a bad headache. So I couldn't look at a screen. But anyway, so much has actually changed since then. I think we should definitely talk about somebody very important, and that being the Queen. There she is. So I felt really bad. 96 years old, though, lived a full life. Mourinho, he said, "I'm so sorry to hear this news. I'm not a foreigner in Britain. It is my home, my family's home. We lived there for many years. She's a wonderful figure. I don't know anyone who didn't have respect for her. She was a great lady as well as a queen." So here's some things just for reference. The Queen has lived through quite a lot. So, of course, right after, I think, the late 40s or early 50s, she has her coronation as officially the Queen. She lived through the bombing of London, the end of World War II, the Cold War, the transition from the British Empire into a Commonwealth, going into the European Union, out of the European Union, and the public scandals as well that, Princess Diana and the controversy that surrounds her. So I just felt like giving her a shout out. It seemed right. Politically, I'm also, I guess, an interesting American in the sense that I do feel a strong connection to Britain still. We speak English. The history of this country is very much ingrained in English law and the way that we do things. So sad to see her go, but she lived an full life as anyone could ever, for sure. In F1 news, we see Verstappen getting really close to the title. Where's Formula One next week? Formula One schedule. I'm going to look it up real quick. Monza was this past weekend, today actually, and Leclerc could not get it done. But Verstappen's car, I just think it's way too quick. Like, you see how this guy pulls through the grid, and it's unbelievable. So let's see what we got left. That was the Netherlands, and next up is Singapore. That's right. That's the 30th of October, so that's 2 weeks away. And then they go over to Japan the first week of October, back to the United States at Aramco. Where is that? That must be Austin. And then the end of October is Mexico. on to Brazil the beginning of November, and Abu Dhabi is the last round. So by next week or by Japan, I would think the latest Verstappen might have this wrapped up. He just how much of it is the car? And I'm sure that there's some Formula One experts out there. I'm interested in hearing what you have to say about it. But that Ferrari, the team manager, they got to get their stuff really tightened up. It's a bit of a mess. And now we see Mercedes. I feel like Mercedes is going to they're going to stick around. We see another podium finish for them in third. And then Hamilton is going to, I think once they get that car fixed, Hamilton's not done. He did not have a kid. He's not married. He's not settled down. So I think that Hamilton is far from having his career be over. Maybe it is a little bit on the dip, of course, as he does, he's over 35, I believe. But still, like he's going to keep plugging away. And George Russell helping him out is even bigger. Such a big help for him. Today, also 9/11, being that I was down in Hoboken, he's unavoidable. You're looking at the skyline sitting on the river. And by the way, that was part of an Italian festival in Hoboken, they had a little Aperol Spritz cart there or stand there. Lots of Italian foods, music. They do the whole coronation, or not coronation, where they take the saint, they take Mary over to the church, which was really cool to see. But it's unavoidable as you're on the skyline. And every year, like today, I think after this live stream, I'll probably walk down to my park where I overlook all of Manhattan, and the lights will definitely be shining way really high, commemorating 9/11. And I posted on my Twitter on Wayne in Rome. If you check out this incredible story of Anthony Zamparelli that I was lucky enough to write down for Roma, and his story just hits me so hard. He was actually supposed to go to work. Long story short, but you should definitely read the article. He was supposed to go in and called out because Roma played Barcelona that day, and his whole floor actually was murdered. One thing I was talking to my students about the other day was that now we have surpassed the death toll of first responders and civilians who died from cancer-related illnesses. So it has outnumbered the 3,000 or so that were killed on that day. So this still affects my community and my people that I grew up with and people around my city. So it's a real shame. Of course, the world was never the same after that. But so far, I've had a good weekend. Besides Serie A, still waiting, and got some cooking. Just made a really nice banana bread, some chicken skewers. But anyway, enough about me. Back to the Serie A. So looking around the rest of the league, let's read the scores here. So onto that Juventus game first. They go down 2 goals and scrape back against Salernitana. And Candreva actually is the one who puts it in the back of the net, ex-Lazio man. And at Sampdoria last year, before he transferred, he had a very good season. He was really productive out on the wing. Of course, he's getting up there in years as well, Candreva. But, I mean, Juventus, aside from their game against Roma, they've looked really just, Allegri has no plan. Matteo Bonetti's tweet went viral showing the octagonal play of just spreading the ball all around. Let me take off the queen. Sorry, I've still got her up here. Sorry, queen. See you later. And I just don't think Allegri has the answer. You look at a guy and he's got a decent team. They should definitely be beating Salernitana, Sampdoria. Like, to me, there's no excuse. You pay a manager big bucks to come up with answers when times get tough. So he's got to do so much better. But around the rest of the league, Napoli looking very good. Atalanta tie again. Not again. Atalanta tied to Cremonese. That's a surprising one for me. But Napoli beat Spezia. Kvara, he's been playing out of his mind. Raspadori gets the last-minute winner. Inter win it late also against Torino. Milan win with a red card against Sampdoria. So we see right there, the 3 most informed teams in Serie A pick up 3 points. Once again, Cremonese and Atalanta tied. Sassuolo lost. And we see Andrea Sotil's Udinese going into the 4th spot. So that's a big win. I'm curious. Fiorentina lost against Bologna, but I want to see who scored for Udinese here. I write for Serie A Fantasy, and let's see if I said, Beto scored twice, and Samardzic scored twice. Twice? No, once. Sorry. But I thought that Deulofeu would have been a good guy for fantasy, but he hasn't gotten too productive yet. We see the rest of the team actually doing really well around him. Maybe that has something to do with their build-up play. But Sotil, man, if you remember back to the game against Roma, high pressing, organized in their defensive block, not afraid to get numbers forward. So they're a success of Serie A so far to me because they play exciting football. And I look at so many of these teams, especially ones that come up from promotion, and I'm seeing a different mentality, which I think is good long term. Salernitana taking it to them, and now Udinese playing some great football, probably the best they have since they had Sanchez on that team. So it's good. Beto, he had a bunch of goals last season, Brazilian, and we see one in the 90 plus 3. For Sassuolo, Davide Fratesi got on the scoreboard, and some links popped up for him this week regarding Roma and a new assault in the January Mercato, but who knows if that's true. I never buy too much into those rumors. Let's see who scored for Bologna, Fiorentina. Arnautovic gets on the score sheet again. Musa Baro, good to see him in form. And Lucas Quarta, the defender, I believe for Fiorentina, he gets a goal in the 54th. So Fiorentina actually went ahead, and Bologna gets the comeback win. So nice stuff there. And at the end of, not the end, before Roma plays, it will be the end. But as of right now, Napoli leads Serie A with 14 points, tied with Atalanta and Milan, and Udinese actually have 13. So Roma with a win tomorrow would move into actually 5th spot because they have lost the head-to-head against Udinese. So let's talk about I mentioned Ludogorets and just how disappointing of a match that was. And Mourinho had some things to say, but to be fair, his press conference was actually quite short. So I'm going to post, there we go, to his first comment here. He says, commentator says, it feels like the result does not reflect the match. For 60 minutes, you were in complete control. Then what happened? And we've seen this story before. I think back to last year, I still have nightmares over Roma at Juventus. And what happened there was just that comeback against Juve. I can't get it out. And I just want revenge against Juventus so bad, especially when they're playing like such garbage as we see now. He's asked, then what happened? He said, I had the same feeling. I don't want to say that we played well because it's not true, but it did not at least seem to me more than enough to win the game, or at least not to lose it. Because before their goal, it was us creating all the chances. After their goal, we were in a rough spot. We were in a tough spot for the first 5 or 6 minutes afterwards because it's normal that a team is going to do certain things when they are winning. We responded really well, though, and we had chances to equalize. As you can see on the screen, this is where I'm reading from. Then we did equalize. Oh, I just got a retweet from Frank. Thanks, Frank, my man from Australia. Great writer for Gentleman Ultra and podcaster. He's got some great interviews. Then we did equalize, and they scored again straight afterwards. It felt like everything went against us in this one. That being said, at least it was not a knockout game. We still have 5 games to play. Obviously, winning the first game leaves you in a more comfortable spot, while a defeat has put the pressure on a bit. But we have to focus on what's next. Against Helsinki next week, we need to pick up 3 points. Okay, so first thing on unpacking this answer, Helsinki is on Thursday. Roma plays on Monday, tomorrow. So they've got 2 days of rest. Luckily, this one's at home. They don't have to go out to Finland after going to Tuscany. And they were just in Bulgaria on Thursday. It's crazy. And the injuries are amounting, and I will get to that. But it stinks that they were able to score so quickly after. And he's going to speak about the mentality in the next quote here. He's asked, where can you do better? What are you expecting to see an improvement? Perhaps in defense? He says, I don't like to talk about the defense because in my opinion, it is the whole team that defends, not just 3 or 4 players who are in that unit. It's about the way the team defends for me. To tell you the truth, the second goal for them is down to emotion. We had equalized and, thinking a draw was still not an acceptable result, continued to push forward and take risks. And then the second goal comes out of nowhere. But the truth is, it turned a draw into a defeat. Fans, what would you have rather done here? Against a team like Ludogorets, Bulgaria, Europa League group stage, do you want to settle for a draw? I think Roma and Mourinho were correct here to push on. You have the momentum, you score late, it's all going for you. You are a much better quality team, you're much more well drilled, you're just in a different level. Of course, you go on for the win, right? That's to me, it's got to be a no-brainer, and it's just, it's an unfortunate thing. Sammy says you should do a collab with AS Roma Theory. Both of you guys are awesome. Forza Roma. Thanks, Sammy. Thanks for checking us out. Yeah, it's a cool page. He does some fun. I think we're a little different, whereas he does more like reactionary and like emotional stuff. I like to get into the weeds a little bit more and stuff like this, analyzing quotes and statistics. But yeah, thank you. Thanks for tuning in. So to me, Roma definitely goes and makes an effort to win this game. You have to. You have to set the tone. Like, we are the head team in this Group C of the Europa League, and that's it. Like, bottom line, we're going to go in and try to win. I have no doubt that when Ludogorets comes to Roma, Roma's going to whoop their butt. I hope that they show up against Helsinki, because that's going to be a tough team. Finnish players, for sure, they're going to go out. But let's get to the last quote here. Finally, your thoughts tonight after the passing of the Queen. As we spoke about the Queen, let's get her back one more time, Our Lady. He says, I'm very sad. I'm not a foreigner in England. It's my home and my family. We have lived there for many years. I'm convinced that 100% of people have a huge amount of respect for this amazing figure, who I would not call Her Majesty, but an incredible woman. I'm very sorry. So this was translated strangely, actually. I'm going to take away this quote for a second, because I think that is the accurate statement of what he said here. Poor Queen. But anyway, Roma needs to return to winning ways. I think it's time to take a look at... let's get the Queen out of here. Sorry, Queen. I think it's time to take a look at the formation for tomorrow, the predicted formation, and maybe some injuries that the team is facing. You know what? Let's go to injuries first. Kumbula, Zalewski. Zalewski is probably not going to play. El Shaarawy and, of course, Wijnaldum. But Zaniolo could make a comeback. Empoli have their own absentees. Mattia Destro, who you know very well. Cambiaghi, Lorenzo Tonelli, who used to play for Napoli. And actually, he's from Empoli. I think they purchased him from Empoli when he was playing at Napoli. And now he's back. And Baldazzi all look out. But this Empoli team, they haven't scored a lot of goals. They've only scored 4 goals. They only have 4 points. But I see the quality in this attack. Bayrami, who's one of my favorite attacking midfielders in the league, the young Albanian. Marco Piascia, who did a job for Juventus, didn't work out too well. And Torino, where he really started his Italian career. And Sam Lammers, who I think he's still owned by Atalanta, but he was there last season. And Martin Satriano ahead at the strikers. So to me, like, they do have some attacking options. I'm not sure why they've only scored 4 goals, but it could be because of these injuries. And Mattia Destro, he had a decent season with Genoa. So they're not too light, I wouldn't say. And the way that Roma's form is right now, I wouldn't really put them out either. Their form, like I said, 4 points. So a goal against Fiorentina, Lecce, Verona, and Salernitana. It was Lammers who tied it up most recently for Empoli in the 81st minute. They're sitting in the bottom 6. They've got the most draws in the year 2022 for any home side in Serie A. So some things. Paolo Zanetti, a manager who I think he's pretty good, Zanetti. He's managed to stay in Serie A, even though his Venezia did not, went down. But I liked the way that he had that team playing, for sure. I don't think Belotti will get the start. I think it's going to be Abraham. But Belotti has been involved in 6 goals in his last 4 games against Empoli. Interesting stat there. Dybala, he surely gets a start. He's the player involved in the most shots this season in Serie A with 33. 17 of those were his own shots, while he created 16 for his teammates. So some really high production coming from Roma's star player, and really just I love him. I hope you do too, because I find him so intriguing to watch and exciting. Okay, so formation. Patricio will be back in net ahead of Spilar. Mancini, Smalling, Ibanez. Smalling definitely gets to start again. He's getting some real minutes under those legs. Karstorp out on the right if he's back and healthy. Camara, Matic, and Spinazzola. So let's talk about those three. Because Zalewski is out, I think that Spinazzola gets the start. Although I think right now you go with Zalewski for form. Cristante should take a seat based on his form. And then you get Mady Camara in. This guy, I think that he can hold the line really well. It's going to take some time for him to integrate. He wasn't here in Rome for the entire summer. He wasn't drilled on the tactics. But I think he's a player who can play that anchor and that pivot really good in Mourinho's zone back and forth and covering the butt of the center backs and making sure that a lot of balls do not go past him. I think is a key trait we need right now. I saw that goal that Ludogorets scored, and it was just so disappointing to see the defensive midfielders. Cristante really got picked out there. Matic went a little bit ahead of him. He lost his spot, and then Cristante was not able to slide. He didn't track back properly, and there was a goal based off that, and that just really got under my skin. I can't believe that Matic is probably going to start again, though. Like, I don't think anyone thought that he was going to get this amount of time. Like, he was just supposed to be rotation. But of course, with the injury to Zaniolo, Pellegrini has had to take a more attacking role. But now that Zaniolo is back, I wonder, although you won't because El Shaarawy is injured, I'm wondering if maybe Pellegrini goes back into the center mid role. But that doesn't look likely. I see a bunch of people in the chat. Throw some comments out there. Happy to go over them and put them up here. So hit me with them. So Camara and Matic seems the likely start and against Empoli. So that would be Camara's first Serie A start. And then up top, Pellegrini, Abraham, Dybala. Pellegrini a little bit more withdrawn. Expect to see the mechanism again where Dybala drops back to get the ball and the left winger will shoot down the flank, that being Pellegrini tomorrow. Or do you see a bit of an inverted tactic where Pellegrini is the player who drops back and then Abraham stretches them out and Dybala runs off of that? Something more like a 1-2 formation where I have to say when it's Dybala Zaniolo, it's more of a 2-1 rather than a 1-2 up top where Tammy really looks to check back and flick it on to Dybala, who makes those darting runs. So this game is going to be at 2:45. Yes, double checking that. Empoli-Roma. It's at Empoli, which is not too far from Florence in Tuscany. It's a beautiful area. I've driven over it in a plane, and I was able to see the stadium, which was really cool. So that's what we're looking at, guys. I don't want to give any predictions. I thought that Roma was going to sweep the floor with Udinese, and of course, we know how that ended. Anything I want else? If you want my Italian shish kebab recipe, write it in the comments. I'll definitely be glad to share that. And what else? I want to check over my notes, make sure I didn't forget anything. Expect Rui Patricio definitely to get the start. And I'll be back for a post-match tomorrow. Tomorrow might be an interesting day. I'm supposed to pick up a car, maybe. If I don't, then I'll definitely have a post-match. So as soon as I get home, I'll run that from work. And it should be good. Give this a like, subscribe. Thanks for jumping in, guys. Ciao.